I'm not just here to give you a 30-day plan. I'm here to give you a whole system. So by the end of the month, you will have no choice but to show up as that girl with the Michelangelo method that I'm about to share. Because here's the thing, completely revamping your life is not easy. How many times have you started on a routine or a New Year's resolution only to fall off the wagon like 2 weeks later? Trust me, I've been there, but that's gonna end today. Because for the last 3 years, I've completely immersed myself in the teachings of the top 1% performers in the world. I'm talking about people like Dr. Benjamin Hardy, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Mel Robbins, literally the people who trains the other top 1%ers of the world. And I have made major mistakes along the way, but I've documented everything and distilled them into a super simple system that I call the Michelangelo Method. This method is inspired by a story within Dr. Benjamin Hardy's book, 10x is easier than 2x. And it has helped me gone from feeling so wildly insecure in my life, never feeling good enough, to now running the business of my dreams, helping women globally, and honestly just living a life that I used to daydream about. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 4 phases to completely rebrand your life so you can get started today. And by the way, when you hear about phase 3, you will finally understand why you have been falling off the wagon all these years. So let's dive straight in. When someone asked Michelangelo about his process behind his masterpiece, his response was, "I saw the angel within the marble and I carved until I set him free." And this is what the whole method is about. Because you see, the life that you dream about is already within your grasp. It's closer than you think. You just have to become the person who is willing to go after it. And here is the thing, that person is already within you. She's just hidden under years of cobwebs, the limiting beliefs, the bad habits, the pressure, the societal programmings that has been instilled upon her. And so most people think that in order to completely change their lives, they need to be adding more. They need to buy more makeup. They need to take more actions. They need to put more pressure on themselves. But this is what Dr. Benjamin Hardy calls the 2x mindset, where in order to get double the output, you would have to put in double the input. So can you see why this is how most people burn out? And the Michelangelo method is going to flip this around. Instead of adding, we are removing. Instead of hustling and grinding more, we are carving away the things that are not serving us. So the question that we're going to be answering today isn't what more should I do? And it's actually, what should I take away? What can I let go of that doesn't belong to the person I'm becoming? And this brings us straight to phase 1. In order to become the person who has your dream life, you need to get really crystal clear on who she is to begin with, which is why in phase 1, it's all about designing an alter ego that you can embody until you actually become her. So ask yourself this. If I was already her, the woman who is running her business with pure confidence, the one who is going after that promotion because she knows she deserves it, the woman who is in shape, magnetic, radiant, super confident, what thoughts would she be thinking? What beliefs would she hold about her ability to achieve that goal? What actions would she be taking without hesitation? Let's start here. So instead of thinking like, "Ugh, no one cares about what I have to say. I mean, my manager is more experienced anyway. I'll let her talk." She is thinking to herself, of course, that my people are going to listen. Like, what I have to say is actually really valuable and it's really going to help my team. So of course I'm going to speak up. And instead of believing that like, "Ugh, it's so hard to grow on like social media these days, like why even bother?" She's believing that as long as I get 1% better with every upload, with every post, with every content, my growth is inevitable. This is how you rebrand your life without hustle, without having to lock yourself in a room for 6 months at a time, by aligning your identity to who you are in that future vision of yours, that highest self, your future self, by aligning yourself, your identity to that version of you and let that trickle down to your action. This is how you're going to completely change your life with so much more ease and joy without having to hustle or grind. But I'm going to warn you though, because the moment you start doing this, the moment you get started on the changes, your subconscious mind, your body, your nervous system is going to freak out, which is why you have fallen off the wagons so many times in the past. And that is where phase three comes in. But for now, let's get started on your action plan first. Your action plan right now is not about adding more to your plate. It is about eliminating what is not serving you. So let's say, for example, your goal is to get in shape. So instead of going straight into that broccoli and chicken diet, can we look at maybe reducing the amount of takeouts you get from 5 times a week to maybe 3 times a week? So maybe another goal of yours is to post more on social media and to build that personal brand. Instead of going, okay, I'm going to post on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, everything, all of the above, like 3 times a day. Can we look at maybe mastering one or two platforms before layering more on? And by the way, I have a whole video on building discipline in your soft girl era without the grind, without the hustle. So be sure to check that out after this. And the reason why this elimination method works is because we are reducing the amount of shock that your brain and nervous system is experiencing. And we're going to talk more about this in phase three later. But for now, all you need to understand is that this makes staying consistent so much easier. And here's the best part. Something magical happens once you start getting used to eliminating things. You start naturally replacing the old bad habits with newer, better ones. So let's say, for example, you've got 30 minutes extra in the morning now that you wake up earlier. What are you going to do about that? Maybe you might go for a morning walk. Maybe you'll start reading a book, meditating, visualizing, journaling, right? Or instead of telling yourself that everyone's judging me, you might start noticing people in your team nodding along as you deliver your presentation. Why? Because now you're in the mindset of someone who wants to better herself, who is looking for evidence that she is on a better path. And so your brain is immediately going to start looking for habits that support that and looking for evidence to support that as well. We're going to talk about that in phase four. But for now, understand that once you start replacing the old habits with the new ones and you get used to the new ones, this is when it's time to raise the bar. Maybe that looks like running a little bit faster than normal. Maybe that looks like adding 15 minutes to your meditation, whatever it is. And here's a secret that most people miss. Those small elimination followed by the small additions, they don't just add up. They compound. They compound. And this is how you get those quote unquote overnight success. But like we talk about, the minute you start making changes, the minute you start making progress, your brain is going to freak out, which is why 92% of the population don't achieve their goal. But that's not going to be you because we're moving straight into phase three. Now, here is where I want to talk about the biological reason why 92% of the world don't achieve their goals. And that is because your brain isn't designed to help you thrive. It is designed to keep you alive, keep you safe, and that is it. So the second you start making changes, even if it means bettering your life, your brain is going to be on high alert. Why? Because changes equals unfamiliarity, and unfamiliarity feels unsafe, equals danger. And this is why so many ambitious people, even you, fall off the wagon. Not because you're lazy, not because you don't want it badly enough, but because your fear response overpowers your desires. Now, I'm going to show you the 4 scenarios in which your brain will kick into high gear. But if you want a deeper breakdown into this, I have a video above where I talk about the 2 subconscious blocks that are preventing you from achieving your goals. Let's talk about the 4 scenarios in which your brain is going to freak out. Number 1, the discomfort phase. So let's say you have decided to stop reaching for the chocolate bar at 3 p.m. like you have for the last couple weeks. Suddenly 3 p.m. hits and you are irritable. You feel restless. Your body is screaming at you to give in. This is where most people give in. Scenario 2, the no results phase. So you've been going to the gym for 6 weeks straight and you don't see nothing. No abs, no toned arms, just soreness, really. Your body aches all over. And this is where your brain is going to tell you, see, this isn't working out. Let's quit. A lot of people quit here too. Scenario 3, the drop phase. So let's say you have been posting consistently. Your views are climbing. A couple videos even blew up. But suddenly, it starts dropping. The views start dropping. You stop going viral. And instead of thinking like, okay, this is just part of the natural ebbs and flow of the algorithm, you start thinking, oh my gosh, everything is crashing down. So you give in. And scenario four, now this one is super sneaky. It is the success freak out. So let's say, for example, you actually succeeded. You landed that promotion. You signed those clients. And instead of celebrating, you freak out because you're like, oh my gosh, the amount of responsibility that I have to take on now is kind of scary. And so you start self sabotaging. So, can you see now why most people fail in their journey to achieving their goals? And I really want you to be honest and reflect on your past journey. Which of these scenarios do you tend to drop off and be more aware of it as you go about rebranding your life right now? Right? And this is why it is so important to learn about nervous system regulation. Because when you learn to regulate yourself in these scenarios, you stop freaking out, you stop being reactive to it, you start finding safety within the rise and fall, the journey to the goal, which makes it 10 times more likely for you to achieve your goals. And there are so many ways to regulate your nervous system. My personal favorite tools are journaling, EFT tapping, and breathwork. And I'm going to link a couple free resources in the description below for you to check out. Now, here is where it gets really exciting. Because once you have learned to regulate your nervous system, the game changes. You are no longer in the start, stop spiral, and instead you are stacking wins like nobody's business. And that means you are on the path to letting the compound effect set in, and the momentum is going to start snowballing before you even know it. And this is where part four, phase four, is going to be so important to really seal the deal and make sure that your new identity and your dream life is inevitable. Phase four is what I call the evidence stack. And I want you to listen so carefully here because this is the phase in which we really seal the deal on all the momentum that we have been building for the last three phases. And this is where I want you to really understand this. Success may not look like what you have been imagining. Because too many people, they have been giving up on their goals because they are hinging everything on one massive breakthrough, that overnight transformation with champagne popping and fireworks. But here's the truth. Life rarely works that way because your subconscious will only allow in what feels safe, which means ironically, the big wins don't always feel that big when it actually happens. So let me give you an example. When I first started my business, I thought success would look like this overnight thing where a flood of clients are going to come knocking at my door. But the reality, it looks more like one person paying me $200 today, another person paying me $400 next week, another person buying a $35 offer the same day. And by the time someone finally pays me multiple four figures, it didn't feel like this big Hollywood finale. It just felt like another day in the office. Why? Because I had already stacked so much evidence that I was a successful CEO that of course I'm gonna be paid multiple four figures. Because here's the thing. The person who has everything that you want, the person who is living your dream life, achieving every goal that you have set out for yourself, she isn't lucky. She is consistent. She is constantly getting better. And so every piece of evidence that you stack up right now rewires your brain to literally believe that this is who I am now. I am that person who achieved everything that I desire. And once you believe that you are that person who runs a full marathon, that person who runs a successful business, that person who secures all the promotion, once you believe that, your reality will literally have no choice but to catch up. So going back to phase one, where you create your identity by design, look at what are the qualities that person have and look for evidence that you are living and embodying those evidence right now. So like, let's say, for example, she is someone who is consistent. Can you look at where you have been consistent in your life? So let's say, for example, you have been making your bed every single day. Boom, that's evident that you are a consistent person. You stick to your word, and that's really important. Or let's say your goal is to run a marathon. And who is the identity of someone who runs a marathon? She's an athlete. She's a runner. And so what does an athlete do? They take care of their body. So whenever you're eating healthy now, whenever you're creating meals that really fuels your nutrition, stack that evidence. You are someone who takes care of her body like an athlete. Wow, this has been a whole masterclass on how to completely rebrand your life in the next 30 days. And the fact that you're still here with me shows me how committed you are, and I am freaking proud of you. But let's recap real quick so you know exactly what to do every single day to create the life that you desire. Number one, getting really clear on who she is and showing up as her. And number two, eliminate anything that's getting in the way of you becoming her. And number three, making sure your nervous system is well taken care of. Regulate yourself every single day. And number four, start stacking evidence. Start looking at how you are already her. This is more than a system, you guys. It is a transformation. It's a difference between trying hard for a month and giving up and carving away at your future self until she's finally free. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.